Okay, hello. Guess who's trending on the social media? It's Taimur and now Jehangir, and both of them are the children of Saif Ali Khan and Kareena Kapoor Khan. But more than what's trending is also the fact is the kind of comments which are coming in, where they are being called anti-national. Why do you want to name your children after, invaders, the Mughal invaders, so on and so forth? So what we're asking this today is that is it correct to actually drag in our celebrities in from their personal life? I know this has always been happening, but in the context of their children's name, isn't this something which they should decide? Why should everything become an issue of polarization and also passing judgments? So joining me now, first is Mr. Veer Sangvi, doesn't need any introduction. And we also have Shilpa Ratnam, who covers entertainment for us. Thank you very much, Veer and Shilpa, for joining me. Veer, I'm going to ask you this question. I mean, I know a celebrity's life is like an open book, but surely there's a Lakshman Rekha. And should they not have the right to name the children Taimur and Jehangir? And, we've seen the entire social media kind of narrative which has been built up. They are being called, anti-national. So that deep polarization is taking place.
Yeah, Pallavi, I mean, two things. The first is, of course, they have the right to call their children or themselves whatever they want. The second thing is, I'm not sure how seriously we should take this. We've seen these kind of social media campaigns against celebrities, and because they do it in large numbers, they trend for a day or two. They make no difference to celebrity. Their films don't flop as a consequence of this kind of idiotic activity. And generally, it's done in an organized manner, either by IT cells or at troll farms. It's done basically for political reasons to keep the Hindu-Muslim issue alive, to create some kind of division within our society. So the moment we pay them too much attention, I think in a sense we are playing their game. It makes no difference to Saif and Kareena what some morons on Twitter say. And I think we should take the same attitude.
Yeah, but Shilpa, we've seen, unlike in the case of Taimur, this time around, both Kareena and Saif have been very careful, not showing the pictures of Jehangir, if that's what he's been called. Even Anushka, for that matter, is not showing pictures of her daughter. Is there a sense within Bollywood that they're being targeted by the so-called ultra right wing, especially in the social media, and therefore this is our own little way of kind of standing up or cushioning ourselves?
Well, yes, if you can see in the last, few months or perhaps the last 2 years, the kind of attacks that the celebrities have been fielding have come from a particular political faction. So it does seem to be also an ideological attack, especially Kareena Kapoor has been subjected to a lot of trolling on social media from the fact that she asked for an amount of 12 crores to play the role of Sita allegedly. And, it was trending, Kareena Kapoor Khan cannot play Sita. She was also embroiled in the love jihad controversy when that erupted a few years ago. And, following the controversy with Taimur now, that Kareena's revealed that her kid's name is his kid is named Jay. That's a nickname for Jehangir. Of course, opinions are again flowing in. Kareena, this time around, it is a personal decision from what we're hearing because of the kind of media glare that Taimur has been subjected to. They have decided to keep the life of their second son as private as possible. But of course, they haven't been spared the social media outrage. But as Veer says, this is having no impact on their projects, on their films. In fact, it's like an outrage kind of publicity. And, as they say, no publicity is bad publicity. And it's an outrage incentive event that the marketing is seeing boom of their forthcoming projects. Also, the celebrities really laughing to the bank, not affected much by the trolling. And, it was expected that there would be a lot of reactions to Kareena Kapoor's second son's name. And as expected, the trolls are out. But of course, there are some balanced and leveled voices out there who are telling the trolls to essentially mind their own business and not comment on what somebody chooses to name their child.
But we tend to become judgmental, and I think the social media just added to it. For example, we saw in the case of Mandira Bedi, where she's carrying on the final rights of her husband, which was considered to be something which outraged the so-called conservationists. The second thing is when, for example, Amir Khan, he got divorced from Kiran Rao, and there were pictures of Farah Sheikh, if I'm not mistaken, that's her name, which was put up to say, okay, this is the reason. And you don't trust, this is what happens when you marry a Muslim, and when Hindu girls should not be marrying Muslims. Those are kind of comments which I started extent for the fact that they've been very flamboyant about their personal life, or there's something which has gone wrong somewhere?
Well, look, whoever's been flamboyant about his or her personal life has always been flamboyant. This kind of stuff has started after Twitter was colonized by troll farms and glove puppets. There is a very clear political agenda, and the political agenda is to keep the polarization between Hindus and Muslims alive. Jehangir is a particularly bad example because, as you probably know, Jehangir is the name of J.R.D. Tata, who was also called J. I don't see anyone saying that Tata should now apologize to the country because JRD Tata was called J or Jahangir. So there's a certain element of idiocy in it. But once you organize these kind of campaigns, once you pay 2 rupees to hundreds of trolls around, once a troll farm gets in on the act, other people, small-time communalists, bigots, jump onto the bandwagon. A hate campaign really is a way for small people to feel important. So it has its own little attraction. They feel, hey, we can say bad things to Kareena, we can say bad things to Saif, and that gives them a certain sense of empowerment, which has been the pattern with Twitter all over. Trolls are not in it because they're really in it for the hate, even the genuine trolls. They're in it for the attention. So the moment they have their 15 minutes of fame, I think they're happy.
But then, Shilpa, is that also the reason why some celebrities like me, I don't think Saif Ali Khan is on Twitter. Is this why they increasingly want to stay away from Twitter? I'm forgetting the name, you would know, but recently someone was on Twitter, went off Twitter because, again, that person was trolled.
Well, yes, Sonakshi Sinha, somebody who went off
Sonakshi.
Twitter after incessant trolling. She said that the platform doesn't do anything to stop the hate. Saif Ali Khan, on his part, hasn't been very active on social media even before the trolling. But it is true that actors of a certain religion are targeted. Be it Shah Rukh Khan, who was targeted after India's hockey achievements, the women's team's hockey achievement. Shah Rukh Khan was told just by virtue of him wishing them, again by a particular political faction. So it is definitely politically motivated. The targets are definitely politically chosen. So it is definitely at play on social media. And yes, there are some who are constantly targeted and trolled, such as Shah Rukh or be it Kareena Kapoor Khan, especially because of her last name, which has been added in the last 7 years. But on the same hand, if you notice, Avamika of Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli, they chose to keep the pictures private. They chose to keep details of their child private, but they have never been kind of subjected to this trolling. Also, definitely depends on the kind of political loyalties that you show, be it Kareena or Shah Rukh. They really haven't been a part of the nationalist brigade, or nor have they had any nationalist opinions to voice. So yes, definitely your political affiliations matter very much when it comes to social media and the kind of trolling that you're subjected to.
Yeah, so the last question then, I was good you touched on that, Shilpa, because that's exactly what I wanted to ask we before we just end this chat. Is that what really is? Your political allegiance, or the fact that you're not showing it, or we don't know which side you are on, is also responsible about for how much you're being trolled and what issues you're being trolled?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me just say that I agree with everything Shilpa said, so I won't repeat it. But yes, you're right. Political allegiance is important. Part of it is, as I said, to keep the Hindu-Muslim division alive, to enthuse communalists and bigots who are supporters of this ideology. But part of it also is part of a larger war. Basically, over the last 7 years, or perhaps the last 5 years more so, there has been a war on Bollywood. Bollywood is the most secular industry in this country. The Khans were our three heroes, our three idols. Their religion didn't seem to matter. There's been an attempt to try and suppress that secular spirit, to make Muslims in Bollywood feel that they're not really part of India, that they're outsiders, that they need to behave themselves, whether it's Amir Khan or Ishita Shah, whether it's Shah Rukh Khan or whether it's now Saif. There is that deliberate agenda. And unfortunately, to a large extent, it has worked. Muslims in Bollywood now are very careful about what they say, careful about how it will be perceived. The growth of sort of bigot lobby in Bollywood, people who swear loyalty to the most right wing of ideas, has also grown. And it's on the whole worked with the case, with raids and censorship problems and stuff like that. They are taming Bollywood, and this is part of it.
All right, yes, makes sense. Thank you very much, Veer. Thank you, Shilpa. Many would say, what's there in a name? Well, it's plenty if you're on the social media and if you happen to be a celeb. But thank you very much, Veer, and thank you very much, Shilpa, for joining us on this broadcast.